Another one.
One on one side of the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He is a real kid.
Everybody ready?
Ready?
Hey! Let's shake your hand. Here we go. Very good. Very good.
Sure.
Sly, can I ask you about the etax and Mike too?
Sure.
If the etax repeal actually passes, it only cuts spending $20 million in the first year.
Only?
Are you saying you can't cut $20 million from the budget, either of you?
Well,
going forward, they cut $50 million last year.
Yeah, and would you like to add another 20 on top of it? The problem is that what would happen if you went home and 20% of your salary was cut?
But it's not 20%, it's not even close.
Well,
20
okay,
million is not even close to that, Sly.
I know, but it's still something that was cut out of your salary. I mean, we have to look at this in a logical way. If you walk home and all of a sudden your salary is cut, you have to make changes, or you get a second job.
So you say the earnings tax, are you saying, Sly, this earnings tax is the salary for the city?
No, I'm saying that you have to look at it in a way that we can relate to. And most people who are working relate to the salary. The earnings tax is based on a salary. So if you all of a sudden lose part of your salary, you have two choices. You can either get a second job to make up the difference, or you can make cuts to make up the difference. Where's the city get a second job? The only thing that we can do is to start making cuts. Now, the reality is, long term, we have to make this city much more profitable and grow the city so that we don't have all of these momentary lapses. But yes, we can make the cuts, but it's going to have an impact. The question is, how deep are those impacts going to be, and will the citizens like the impacts when they occur?
Let's give Mike a
Well,
chance.
and I think this is at the depths of a recession where we have cut considerably. We've not funded pensions. We've not funded infrastructure. We've not funded capital maintenance like we should. So trying to add another $20 million of cuts on top of the salary freeze, failure to fund pensions, yeah, we could do it, but we would cut services, and probably trash would be one that you'd have to take a look at first. That's why the earnings tax was originally passed.
Right, but $20 million doesn't seem like an enormous amount of money to cut out of the
Well,
budget.
it doesn't unless you've already cut, $100 million over the last 4 years.
Well, which is $25 million a year, which is more than you'd have to cut this time.
Failed to fund your pension contributions, failed to fund your street maintenance.
So are both of you pledging you would cut no money from the budget if elected mayor in the next fiscal year?
No, that's not at all. I don't think what we're pledging. What we're saying
so it's 20 million and zero. What's the target, Sly? How much do you think we should cut out of the budget?
I don't know how much we should cut out of the budget. I'm not here to talk about that at the moment. I thought we were talking about what happens with the earnings tax. What we're trying to do is to make sure
the budget.
Yeah, I know, Dave. What we're trying to do is to make sure that the cuts that we made are considered cuts, not cuts that are forced on us on top of the considered cuts. At some point, you're cutting to the bone. What we are trying to talk about is how we can save the city and maintain at least the services that we have. Now, in order to make that better, we'll make the cuts as necessary, but we're going to have to take a look at where we can do that without doing violence to the city services and the people who live in it.
Do you agree with all of that, Mike?
Yeah, there are areas of the budget, and one that I would particularly look at is some of the debt that was authorized by the current council. I would certainly defer any new bonds that are for debt that is not necessary to incur right now, and that's they authorize.
I'm talking about operating though. There's a 400.
Well, but that debt is paid out of the city's general fund.
Indeed.
$66 million was authorized just a few months ago, and that's $6-7 million a year in debt service out of the general fund, and that's what we've got to put a stop to. The other thing is regardless of the outcome of the earnings tax, we need to impose more discipline in our city budget, go to multi-year budgeting, not skip over those things that are easy to do in an election year, like paying pension contributions or paying for our street maintenance.
And deferred maintenance has to be addressed in that as well.
Nice. Oh, excuse me.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm off to geography school. Name this side.